It has been a long, long time since I've seen a certain movie that got released in May of 2014 that I was hyped beyond belief for when I saw it. Then when I saw it, I'm like, wait, that's it? There's no more of him? What's going on here? Maybe you're wondering who I'm talking about. I'm talking about a titular 400-foot tall American adaptation of the Toho monster Godzilla. Yes. This spectacular adventure pits Godzilla, the world's most famous monster, against malevolent creatures that, bolstered by humanity's scientific arrogance, threaten our very existence. And oh boy, did I feel conflicted about this one 10 years ago. I mean, even reading back on some of my own Facebook reviews, I switched so much because I felt so conflicted. It was like, on one hand, we've got the epic weight to it. On the other hand, we barely have any monster action. So between most of 2015 and 2016, I was going through an existential crisis. Didn't have any role models, didn't help, but that's a story for another time. I was wondering, like, okay, what's going to happen? Kong Skull Island, 2017. And from there, the Monsterverse just expanded from there. And, you know, Kong Skull Island, Godzilla King of the Monsters, Godzilla vs. Kong, and Kong x Godzilla, New Empire. And, of course, the other 28 Japanese ones. But how does this one fare now that it's been a decade later? This is still a dang good movie, but there are some stupid decisions that even back then that are still stupid nowadays. Let me explain. It's Bryan Cranston is the main star. He gives in a stellar performance, and in the beginning, he's got his wife and son living in Tokyo in 1999, or was it wherever it was, Fukushima. Anyway, yeah. The scientists and they discover a skeleton and a whole bunch of other stuff. It's just this whole thing going on, and for the first 40 minutes, I'd say it's a family drama. Okay. Well, I mean, he's coming off of when he was playing Walter White in Breaking Bad, so his name does add some marquee value. However, he gets killed in the first 40 minutes. I'm like, why? Just why? He could have added some emotional weight. They could have had a debate about whether to kill him the best that they could, or just to let the creature act as like a balance of the force of nature. But no, they just off him, and I'm like, 10 years ago I thought that was stupid. 10 years later, I'm still like, that was stupid. We have Aaron Taylor Johnson, who was in Kick-Ass and his debut as McLovin in Superbad. Those two roles define him. Here he just plays G.I. generic. Survives the most impossible odds of falling, being near radiation, almost getting obliterated by a Muto, massive unidentified terrestrial organism. I'm like, you have survived more crud than any other protagonist that I've ever seen. So just the leaps of impossibility that he overcomes. Playing the most generic characters. Okay, when he's with his dad, he's not that bad, but everything else, just the drama, just when he's spending time with his family, feels artificial. They could have balanced the two, but nope. Let's have them separated and have two giant monsters get in the way. I'm like, no, don't do that. And the second dumbest decision in movie history. Elizabeth Olsen is carrying the son. And she rides a bus. Oh, thank God. Hey, Sam, you remember Mommy's work friend? I'm going to give her to you. No. Just no. And you may be wondering what's the first. In King of the Monsters, when Vera Miles, whatever her last name is, awakens Ghidorah. Dumbest decision in movie history. Out of all the movies out there, that's the dumbest one ever. And just how they keep cutting away from the monsters and the action. It's just like, quit doing that! Please! However, there's also a lot of positive as well. One, the weight of the monsters. They feel colossal. Godzilla is almost 500 feet in this movie. You could tell just by looking at this artwork alone. He is an imposing, massive figure. The weight, the gravitas, the footfalls, the roars, the way even his scales and dorsal fin look is like, oh, frothing at the mouth of it, and it's just like, this is so nice. The Mutos, they're different. He needed a new foe to face, because not everyone's going to be familiar with Gigan, Mothra, Ghidorah, Mechagodzilla, King Caesar. I'm pulling Ibira. Those are the names that I know that not too many people are. So let's instead just get two interesting monsters that are male and female. The male is like 120 feet tall. The female is 400 feet tall. And just let them wreak havoc. Yes, the destruction from them is nice. Thank you, Gareth Edwards. You did do this right. When you gave this movie weight, you gave it weight. You gave the rebirth that the fans have wanted for so long. After the 1998 TriStar one, that Toho acquired the rights to specifically for Final Wars, just for their Godzilla to get the, for their Godzilla to annihilate the TriStar one. Yes, I think TriStar actually enjoyed that. Roll number said, yeah, that was pretty cool. Yes. And after Final Wars, which in 2004 was a good send-off for him, it's like, he needs to return in the most epic way possible. And honestly, despite the limitations, when he's on screen, when they're on screen, you could tell that the weight is there. This is an epic blockbuster that was dang needed. And just the scenes alone of like when he in Honolulu, when he arises and causes tsunami, you could see the weight and the gravitas of it. It's not just shallow with explosions. I'm like, this is real stuff right here. When he's near the Golden Gate Bridge, you can see that the tension going on. He's like right underneath as there's 8 different cruiser ships nearby. When the atomic, just one thing that the fans wanted was to see the atomic breath. It's like, is it going to return? I'm like, when's it going to return? And then suddenly when you hear the wah, 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 first time in the theaters, I'm like, this is so effing awesome. And then at the end, one more for the kiss of death right near the female Muto. Oh yeah, that was awesome. I'm like, yes, yes, yes. And and it's like when they finally get to it, it's like the Jaws effect. Yes, it happens, and it's just like, jeez, so it's like just, oh, it's so darn good. It's also a self-contained story, which is actually nice because it's like, yeah, because you know it's like the Monsterverse would expand for 2014 for a return. This is nice. There are little shout-outs here and there too, like, you know, it's like, hey, let's have a picture of a butterfly. Let's have Gigan. Let's have a little thing that's kind of shaped like a Ghidorah. Let's have a Go Whaling tour. I'm like, those are nods to the longtime fans who know what's going on, but it's not exactly like forced or out there. It's like, if you catch it and you see it, you got it. So how do I feel about this 10 years later? The problems that were there are still there. That's not going to change. Bryan Cranston's limited on-screen role, yeah, that pissed me off. But when it's good with the atomic breath, the weight of the monsters, the little small tributes, the beautiful showdown that's going on towards the end, as the epic rebirth that the King of the Monsters needed at that time. Oh, it was amazing. So, how do I still... So, if I were to give it an arbitrary rating... Oh, and also the dumb decisions made by some people, I would have to say it gets a 3 out of 5 but it's still a solid, badass 3 out of 5. So please, watch the original watch Godzilla 2014.